Gotta unmute both of them. All right. So, rehashies. All right, guys. So, Fenrak says, okay, so I tried to play Roach, Hydra, Viper, Infesta. That's a very complicated composition. So I guess what I would say from the start is, if you are going to play Roach, Hydra, you can play Roach. I don't mind like Roach, Infesta into like Broodlord, but potentially just some Queens for anti-air can be pretty nice. Or, let's just go standard hotkeys. There we go. But I do feel that if you go like Roach, Hydra, and Infestor and Viper, it's going to get real convoluted real quick. So Infestors and Lurkers kind of double up on the same splash damage ability. So while maybe you get a couple Infestors just to get you through the early mid game or something, but then it's basically you're just Roach, Hydra, like Roach, Lurker, Viper, essentially. Maybe Roach, Hydra, Lurker, Viper, right? So that's definitely something you can do. That's a very kind of like specific comp. I really enjoy it because I like using those units, you know? And I love Abduct, and I like Roach, Hydra, and Lurkers are really good. So you could definitely play that style. But if you don't have experience with it, you're really going to struggle. So I guess the heart of your question was... I guess I just don't see a heart to your question. And this is like... me being a tough coach, but also like I really want to help you out as much as I can. I guess that's why I'm being a bit like, yeah, give me more, yeah. Because when I read that question, all I hear is like, look, so this is the most recent game I've played. I played the same guy at the game before. He did the same style. I changed it up. I did Ling Bane in the previous game. This time I'm playing Roach, Hydra, Viper, and Festa. I knew I was going to lose this time. Zerg late game is so hard for me, especially keeping alive the valuable units. Any tips for that? So, you know, when I hear these comments, part of me is like, oh, maybe my advice can just be like teaching you how to win in the mid game more, right? So we don't have to play the late game. Or if we have the late game, we do kind of need like a specific plan. Like maybe we're going for a Broodlord timing. We're going to have Infestors for Fungal underneath and some Roach Hydra on the ground to support, or just like Roach Ravager to try and come in if they try to jump on those Broodlords, right? And you use Fungal and Broodlord Micro and you win that way. So there's a few different ways you can do it. I guess like the thing is though, if we don't have a direction and we're just kind of like, well, I just played a different style and tried to do some stuff, it's almost like it's a recipe for losing because it's just so hard to adapt on the fly. So, and make up something that you've never really worked on before and haven't really refined. So that would be my advice. Now, in this scenario, a little bit of advice, send your lings straight across the map if they're ever trying to block your third. If you see SCVs and Reapers hanging around, even if it's just 2 lings, even if the Reaper just chases those lings, they've got to like micro it back, and it's going to allow your other lings. So 2 lings go across the map maybe, and then the other ling or 2 lings and the drone can kill the SCV. It just makes it a bit easier in this early game for you and can punish them really hard for being cheeky like that, right? Though I like what you did with taking the other third base. That's pretty good as well. So, I guess just what I'm getting at is definitely like, you know, do you want me to give you advice on how to improve your Roach, Hydra, Viper, Infesta? Sounds to me like you're at a bit of a point where you lost confidence because of the previous game, tried something completely different, and it's almost like you've gone in the wrong direction before the game started. Because I always tell people, just because a game went bad, like try to focus on something small you can improve. Don't try to focus on changing everything from the ground up. Like a lot of people go, okay, I'm playing bad today, or this didn't work. I need to change everything. But usually we make all these crazy like basic mistakes when we change everything. We just kind of like, we're doing everything a little bit worse because we're just not as practiced in those scenarios, right? So for me, I'm worried that I'm going to be giving advice. Like if I was your doing a full proper coaching session, I'd be like, let's make sure we actually want to improve at Roach, Hydra, Viper. If we don't want to, watching this replay is a waste of time because the decision to play a style that is not the style we want to be working on, that was the decision we should focus on. Why am I playing a style I don't want to get better at, right? So it's more of a psychological thing with what happened in the previous game, looking at our mindset from that game, and working our way forward from there. I didn't believe in the Ling Bane style on that map. That's why I swapped to the range style. I'd like to be able to play both comms. I'd like to be good at Roach, Hydra, Viper. It'll take a lot of practice, especially Zerg vs Terran, very mechanical matchup. I find it really hard to straddle 2 styles at once. You will see me occasionally mix in Roaches, but it's very all in the way I play it. And I will dig deep into my muscle memory of years gone past as a pro player in early Legacy and do this weird, antiquated, like Roach Ravager doing run-bys, and then I'll get Infestors and do a Broodlord timing. And it's like, it's big. I can dig into this old reservoir, but it's nowhere near refined, right? Because Lingbane, Lurker, Viper, that is my most solid style right now. That's what Scarlet coached me on, and that's what I've gotten really good at. So definitely, like, it can be nice to work on 2 styles, but you will need to grind a lot of games with the other style. I don't see any reason why Ling Bane wouldn't work on this map or any map in specific. I guess you could argue that Ling Bane's a little more that actually, like I would argue that if there's a map that Roach Hydra is better for like keeping you alive and stuff, it would actually be on like Berlingrad and Curious Minds, those small maps, because it's shorter. So having the ranged army that's more positional, especially with the Ravager biles, it's hard for them to push into you. So I would feel like Roach Ravager is actually better on a small map. Ling Bane is better on a big, long map like Hardwire. And even on a small map where Roaches are a bit better, I would still just play Ling Bane, but I'd stop at a lower work account and just play more aggressive. I'd be like, all right, 60 drone and mass Ling Bane and just keep doing Ling Bane run bys and that sort of stuff. So that would be my approach personally. And I think that would be huge. Yeah. So it's kind of funny because StarCraft's such a hard game. There's so many decisions to make and there's so many things to like understand or focus on. But I guess that's kind of getting at the point that, like, for me, your question itself says a lot about your mindset going into the game. And I hate to psychoanalyze. I hope this isn't like, you know, overreaching. You did a coach by replay. I've tried to give you the most value possible because I want you to improve as a player. Sometimes you got to hear the hard thing. And I do think you're maybe a little bit unfocused in trying to focus on like 2 different things at once, which I personally really struggle to be like, hey, I'm going to be a solid Roach Hydra style player and a Ling Bane play style. If I'm going to do that, I would spend like probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month playing just the Roach Hydra style, like 90% of my games. Maybe 1 day a week I do Ling Bane to keep that practice level up a little bit so I have a little bit of experience with the Ling Bane. But like I'd be like, I need to go really hard on this to actually get a deep understanding of that style so it feels natural. Otherwise, I think you're kind of making things hard for yourself because of like a perceived weakness of a style. But realistically, we've got to take into account how hard it is to play 2 solid macro styles in StarCraft. And that's just really tough. If you learn it, you're like, I hate this map, I find this map bad, choose an all-in. Choose a simple strategy. Don't learn 2 very opposite different macro styles. Same reason I don't play Bio and Mech in Terran versus Zerg at the same time. Even though I know on a strategic level that's awesome and it's great to do, I just find it too hard to be good at 2 solid macro styles at once. I might mix in a Bio all-in while Mech is my main playstyle. Or if Bio is my main playstyle, I might mix a Mech all-in, but I'm not going to learn it as like a very macro-centric style. Does that make sense? So basically, what I try to do is I'm always trying to simplify things so that I can get better at it. And what I'm hearing here is we swapped to a brand new style we don't have experience with, but we didn't really have a clear goal of exactly what our timing attacks or win conditions were with that style. And that's always what we need to have in mind, especially with a new style we don't have much practice with. Like, hey, when are we attacking? How are we going to kill the opponent? How can we improve on that? Roach, Hydra, Viper, Infest are all very deep down the tech tree. I don't hear any timing attacks in there. So I feel like we are going to find ourselves in a late game scenario with a composition that we're not that experienced with. And the chances are is that we're going to be getting there in a very inefficient manner. Because if you don't learn timing attacks on your way developing the style and really refine those, you're going to find that you're missing a lot of details because you don't have like clear, immediate feedback points saying, hey, your 8-minute Roach speed 1-1 attack, it hit at 9 minutes. It was a minute late. Bam, rewind the replay. What can I do better? So this is why having those attacks in mind and really being really focused on our improvement, it's going to create a system that our slow 8 brains, myself included, it's so hard, StarCraft, it really is, can actually process that rather than trying to do everything at once. So just in terms of being realistic about what we're trying to achieve as a player is what I'm getting at here. And usually doing less, but then getting really deep experience with those less variety is usually better. Overthinking is one of the bigger issues I have. That's why I play a pretty solid ZvT. Everything works naturally for me. Person Terran, there seems to be a lot to keep in mind. So the answer to this is have an attack in mind. This style right now, I really hate what you're doing here. I'm going to tear you apart a little bit. Fenrak, let me know in chat. Do I have permission to tear you apart a little bit? This is not because you're a bad player, but I want to kind of reveal what you're doing that doesn't make sense, and then we can give you some advice. Tear away. Thank you. Thank you very much, mate. Your build makes no sense because you have no attack timing other than a half-baked Roach pressure. Okay, so let's go back a little bit in this game. Let's point out a few things. So you're doing a pretty standard build. You handle the annoying SCV and Reaper stuff pretty well. Opening looks good, right? I'm not checking every detail, but you know, it looks pretty good, man. I don't even know what your league is, by the way. This looks like Diamond 1, yeah? I think. It could be Masters. I have no idea. It's like high APM. You guys are doing proper builds. I haven't actually watched enough interaction. About diamond 1, diamond 2. Yeah, okay, cool. 4k MMR, right around there. Awesome. Okay, so at this point, we're making ling speed, but you are doing a roach pressure. If you're doing a roach pressure early on, super fast roach torrent, makes no sense to make ling speed because your roaches are both defending and attacking at the same time. Ling speed serves no function, number one, okay? Because look at your roach horn goes down, I think 340 pretty early. Number 2, yeah, very early. 330 roach horn and second gas. That's very quick, mate. Very quick. So that's real quick. Second one is, I think we had a bunch of lava sitting here. Yeah, here. So about 330. Notice you're very slow to spend this lava when it pops out. So you injected your natural and your main, but you didn't produce drones. Yes, you did. Oh, no, you produced drones there. That was fine. Never mind. I saw something where there was a lesser drone count than I thought there should be, but I must have misseen it. All right. No, that's fine. No, you're droning. It's good. Yeah, just the ling speed. So far, ling speed's the problem. Everything else is good. You are building more overlords than you need. 21 supply is going to allow you to build 7 roaches. 22 supply, 7 roaches, right? 10 roaches. What am I doing with my numbers? If you want to make a few ravages, they become 3 supply units. But yeah. Now you're making 3 queens as your roach horn finishes. That's meant to be roach money. So you should have been the moment, like you should have been holding that roach key down already. And we should be going, and you should know the number of roaches you're going as well. Let's say 8 or 10 roaches, right? So you're going 10 roaches. 10 roaches, then you should think about droning as hard as you can. You got 9 lava. Whoops, sorry, I just jumped forward. That was a mistake. So there's no reason to be building 3 queens here, right? Because we've got roaches pressuring. You're going to put the pressure on your opponent. They're not going to be clearing creep because you're attacking them. So you can get away with just a few creep tumors because they're not going to be interrupted. So this is the secret of aggression is you don't need as many queens. If you're attacking your opponent, not as many queens are necessary. Now, obviously, if they harass you and stuff, maybe you need it. You're also sending an overlord into scout, maybe a little overly ambitious or unnecessary. I guess you're trying to dodge the Viking, maybe? I don't even know. That's kind of sick you dodge the Viking, actually. But yeah, these roaches are just a lot later than they need to be. And where is the drones behind it? So we've got 12 roaches, which is a pretty massive commitment. If we're going to commit this hard, I feel like we should be rallying speedlings and making them all into ravages and having more overlords free and go. But you can see that we're kind of moving across the map. Now we're building spores. I guess because we saw the fusion core, but we still haven't droned. We're so far behind the drones. Thing is, you can do an attack like this and then still build a pretty massive economy behind it. Obviously, oh, finally we got the overlords. Okay. So that really hurts. And this attack, look how slow these roaches are. These roaches almost aren't worth building with how early these guys get across. These guys are so slow. And I really feel like this is just a little bit of a misaligned build order. We have 14 lava. We are injecting the main and the natural, but not the third. And we're just kind of not really droning here. And likewise, these roaches should be trying to get in that base and kill as many workers as they can. As a general rule, shove up the ramp and kill as much as you can. Notice how we're splitting up, so we're killing depots. We're not really focus firing anything. It's like, if we're going to click the command center, click the command center. Otherwise, get up that ramp and go. You can see, now we build 21 drones at once. So this just feels like it's all half-baked. It's not planned out. This is what happens where you were losing confidence from the previous game, so you're just making some stuff up here. This is not really a tight build order from you. You could have been at 66 workers by now. If you were injecting and building drones the whole time, and then, you know, you can drop a Spire in case you're worried about more BCs. That third should have had your rally point on it. You see, you didn't even rally to the third, right? Whereas we already should have known, hey, we're doing a 2 base, 2 gas drone roach attack. So we should have been rallied to the drones, and this should have been fully saturated a minute ago, right? So that absolutely could have happened, and that would have just been planning. Hydra den, I guess you can go Hydras as an intermediary, but they're not really important right now. It's more important to get your upgrades out and that sort of stuff and get your drones up. As it is, I would have built a few roaches here because you've lost all of your units. So Hellions could come in and kill some stuff. So even just getting 4 or 5 roaches out, just in case there is a counter pressure, is good. Now you're playing against a Mech player. So the secret against Mech, if you're playing Roach Hydra, remember what I said, Roach Hydra. There is no reason to build Infestors versus Mech at all. Do not bother with it. Rush to Vipers. So what you should be doing here is immediately dropping an infestation pit. As soon as that finishes, start a hive. As soon as that finishes, make 3 to 5 Vipers. That's going to join up with your 4 base. And these gases need to mine the moment that 4th base is up, because this is a pretty late 4th already. So 4 base gas, maybe 70, 80 drones or something like that, whatever. As long as you get the 4 gases. And you are just going to get energy with the Vipers. You're going to move across, abduct, 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 abduct. You noticed because he went Battle Mech with Hellion Cyclone, that's why you went Infestors later? No need. Vipers abduct Cyclones, kill him. But he's got lots of Cyclones. Make 6 or 7 Vipers. Abduct 12 or 14. You will destroy him. Vipers destroy Mech. The earlier you get them, the earlier you can just grab this battle cruiser, come up here with 20 Hydras, abduct the BC, kill it, abduct the tanks, kill him. Easiest win of your life. That's it. So already, despite this being so sloppy, you're out-macroing your opponent because it's hard for Mech players to deal with a Roach pressure. My opponent, I feel bad for your opponent. So I feel like there's not like clear, obvious mistakes, and yet he's behind in this game. It's like, this is exactly like how I defend Mech, with Mech as well versus Roach pressure. I'm like, hey, I took no damage. Why am I way behind? I'm like, because you're an incompetent Terran player like me, Intifada. You're shit like I am. So yeah, he's a bit behind here. You do get Vipers going pretty quickly. Carapace is not as important as getting more Vipers. And why do we not have gas? So, your gases should have been taken as you took the base or when it was halfway done, no later than that. Number 1. Number 2, Overlords. Why do you have no Overlords on the map? But he built a Viking. He cleared your Overlords. Doesn't matter. He's playing Mech. There is a set play versus Mech, and that is they're going to run Hellions in and kill your shit. Don't rely on Spines. Number 1, he could get 4 Hellions and just hold position them here. Spines aren't going to stop that. But if you put your Overlords out on the edges, you're going to see air harass coming in, BC's trying to fly past, and you're going to spot Hellions running in. And even if you lose an Overlord or 2, not a big problem. So at some point in the mid game, grab your Overlords. See? Shift click like that. Okay? Put them all out there. Get the gases up there, and also try to get the gases on a 5th base as quickly as possible if you can. The earlier you get those Vipers up, the better. Because right now, you've got a giant army. You could be maxed right now. We're not maxing for whatever reason, but our Vipers are holding us up, and we haven't really attacked. We're letting him take a 4th, even though he's only got a few Cyclones and Hellions to defend it. He doesn't even have mag field, and we absolutely should not have been letting him do that. We saw him move out to take that base, but we didn't notice it. We could have just killed this base, fought that army, just A-moved into it, traded off our Roach Hydra. Now we're attacking blind into a mass tank. Good choice to pull back there. Very bad angle to fight. So we're going to pull back now, right? Now we're building 4 more Vipers, which gives me a bit of a bone from that. You've just given me a very... It's a wholesome stiffy. It's not a weird one. Don't make it weirder than it has to be. It's a wholesome stiffy because it's something I like. When someone goes to 6 Vipers, I get a little bit randy in a good way, okay? So that's awesome. So definitely enjoy that. 10 gas, I mean, eventually, yeah. Even if you, as long as you get the 8 gases up really quickly, that's huge. But notice you never saturated that. You really, it's all about the gas for your Vipers. And just getting those Vipers up as early as possible is huge. You're building 16 more drones. I think you have more workers than you really need already. You just need to make sure you're not letting him expand. You're going up and killing this base, which he's still not got defended. And getting up there and just abduct. If you've got 6 Vipers or 4 Vipers with full energy, abduct 8 siege tanks, kill them, pull back. Rinse and repeat. Build a bunch of Evo chambers out here so you can gather energy and go for it. So definitely something you've got to go trade. Like you're on a really low tier comp, Roach Hydra. You can't just be wasting time maxed out with 4,000 resources in the bank. There needs to be urgency. Now, right now, you're blind. I don't know where he is. How am I going to know? Number 1, like I said, Overlords on the map are going to see if he's doing Hellion run-bys. Number 1. Number 2, Roaches. You always should have 5 Roaches on a Hellion defense squad. That's your drop defense control group. If your main army's on the left side of the map, your drop defense squad's on the right side. That can move to intercept Hellion run-bys. Having that split off from your army stops you from being maxed out, moving across the map. 4 Hellions drive in and kill 50 drones and you lose the game. We've all done that versus Mech. Build this as a habit. Anytime you guys are playing versus Mech, even from the early mid game, split a squad of Roaches off on a different control group that you can split off to deal with those Hellions, okay? If they're going with big squads of Cyclone Hellion, you can make that 10, 20 Roaches, right? You can improve that number. Okay, so we're coming up here. For some reason, we split our army. Where are our abducts? We're not using changelings. Make a few extra overseers and periodically drop changelings and just shift click them through their shit so you can kind of see what you're going into. Also, make Overlord speed, and you can fly an Overseer in. And here, I'd just abduct all those Cyclones and kill them, pull back, grab more energy, you'd win the game. But you can see how this is half-baked. You kind of got kited into him. Don't have a Blinding Cloud. Blinding Cloud's for cucks and tryhards. It can be the best ability in the game, but it only lasts 6 seconds. You need to have a full surround or a really decisive engage, and you need to know you're going to fucking kill everything in those 6 seconds or save some energy for a second round. Blinding Cloud is a spell that you should not do. When you're getting better at Viper play, and this goes for everyone, they are not Vipers. They are abductors. They abduct, and then they suck energy off buildings. and then they abduct, and then they suck energy off buildings, and then they abduct, and then they suck energy, and they just do it over and over and over again. What's a good drone count? 75 should be plenty, Fenrak. I can't imagine you needing more than 75. You could go to 85, but yeah, that's how you go. And your Vipers should not be dying after the fights. You should be abduct, kill units, pull back. Abduct, kill units, pull back. And this base has been undefended. You could have ran in here with your army at any point and killed it, but you're not sending changelings in, you're not looking for it, and you're also, remember, those Vipers initially were really, really late, so we don't have a timing. We're on a very high Roach Hydra army versus a player who has all the things to counter that. Technically, we could go Broodlords from here, but it's all only necessary because we, at no point, have used our Vipers effectively. And because we haven't used our Vipers effectively, we haven't found any way to use our Roach Hydra effectively. If you're going to play Roach Hydra, and it is it's my favorite way to play versus Mech. It's a great way to play versus Mech. Rush those Vipers out, get as many as you can, 5, 6, even 7 if you want. And basically, yeah, like if you think about it, I would just come here. I'd get my army here, my Vipers here. I'd send my Vipers in. I'd A-move my army. And I'd run forward. And you know what? One Viper might die before it gets a spell off. And who gives a shit? You got 6 Vipers. Abduct, abduct, abduct. 6 Vipers is 12 abducts, guys. Say you lose 1. Say you get 5. That's 10 abducts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You abduct all 8 siege tanks. You kill them. You kill these missile turrets. You move a bit deeper. These tanks shoot you. You go, fuck that noise. Pull back. Rotate around with your Roach Hydra army. Break these rocks. Kill this command center. Meanwhile, your Vipers are gathering energy. Their army responds. Maybe you don't kill the command center. You rotate back. Vipers join up. You kill 10 tanks. Vipers go back to get energy. Your Roach Hydra moves back to the other side. You kill another base. You move back. You join up with your Vipers. You do it again. It's clockwork. It's a set play. Don't adjust. Don't react. It's just set plays, and you'll absolutely destroy. 75 drones I like because it's a bit lower. I'd rather you be lower. Just make sure you get to 8 gas ASAP, and if you can get to 10 gas as well soon after, that'll be pretty nice. But if they're Hellion harassing, the game's a bit messier. It can be nice to have a 10 drone buffer. So 72 to 85 drones. 72 drones is 66, so it's a full 3 base plus the gases. And somewhere maybe up to 10 or 13 extra drones just to give you a bit of buffer in case drones are dying and craziness is happening. But no higher than absolute max 85, and I would rather you hang at 70 to 80. Abduct the command center. That big boy's got too much girth, Anzo. Look at this double-fisted warrior in Twitch chat. Anzo Impact's like, oh no, I could totally do that tree trunk, man. I'm like, dude, that's a great oak. You can't. You can try to abduct that thing, but there ain't any tree sap coming out of that bad boy, mate. You're only rubbing your own ego in that case, dude. That's whew. You ain't gonna be pulling anything out of the ground over there. So now you're doing, I'm making random things because my strategy is not working. Very common. You've lost faith in your strategy. You're making infestors. All you need is Roach Hydra Viper. Just become really good with Vipers versus Mech. It is the one-size-fits-all big dick move. Did you know you can abduct PFs if you eat a hive beforehand? Oh, that's true. Yeah, they're a good supplement, hives, man. Yeah, it's the TRT of StarCraft for sure. Yeah, you got to get that that big hive replacement therapy, man. I mean, you still got a chance to transition and stuff, but yeah. And you could still absolutely win this game. So I'll tell you what, unless I'm playing a super expert player, all I need is Vipers and mostly Hydras. You don't want too many Roaches. The Hydras just do more damage. They kill shit faster. And it actually feels unfair. Like against a player, and this is not because he's way below my level, this is most GM Terrans, other than the very top guys. I say the very top, like top 50 GM. If I play against a Mech Terran, I can kill most of their army for free with Abduct, right? Because I'm just like, yeah, yoink, 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 yoink. I just kill units. I lose like 4 Hydras for 8 siege tanks each trade, and I keep doing it, and they're just like, fuck this, Vipers are unfair. The number of Terrans I've made rage just using Abduct is huge, man. Yeah. That was the fight where I noticed Neural wasn't hotkeyed. Yeah, now you've got double Spellcaster. Never use double Spellcaster, guys. Never use double Spellcaster. It's not a good idea. So, yeah. I mean, okay, you played against Mech. Playing Roach Hydra Viper against a Mech player, very smart. But just think of it as pure Roach Hydra Viper. Get your hive up real quick. You want to go straight for the gases on your 4th as quickly as possible. Your opening needs to make sense. So if you're going to do a Roach pressure, hit it sharper and faster. Don't make ling speed and drone way harder behind it. All of those things will combine to make you such a stronger player. Now, that being said, you said I didn't have faith in Roach Hydra because he played Mech again. Makes perfect sense. Lingbane is not meant to beat Mech. Lingbane is not good against Mech. You can make it work sometimes, but it shouldn't work, really. It's not the style. It's not the right style for it. So, correct choice. Correct choice. Normally, making a half-baked transition to another style doesn't make sense, but Mech is a very special thing. They have Blue Flame Hellions and Widow Mines. Lingbane is not made to beat that. So, overall, a good choice in that regard. Just need some practice getting your Vipers up earlier. Focus really hard. Like, you've got 7 Vipers right now. We've got them on a control group. We should be going and abducting units. But notice how you're never dropping changelings? Drop this. Hold the changeling key down. You're going to drop 12 changelings. Get them. Same thing as with the overlords. Shift click, right? So imagine the overlords are changelings here, right? Move there, shift click, move there, shift click, move there, shift click, move there, shift click. Just click a bunch of them through. You'll see where his army is. And look at that, free command center, easy peasy. But why aren't you scouting ahead? Why aren't your Vipers going ahead or changelings? We have no idea where he is. Where's the Vipers? We're going to lose our army. Ah, we're running into a planetary. What are we doing? We're using Blinding Cloud. No, wrong spell. That's the shit spell, I told you. Blinding Cloud's the cuck spell. It's like so game-changing and winning sometimes, but it's very situational. It takes like really high-level, adjustable, tactical understanding and adapting to the scenario. That's why I really rail against Blinding Cloud, guys, because it's very hit or miss, whereas Abduct always yanks a unit into your army. It's very consistent, right? So if we look at that fight there, once again, what would I have done? Oh, there's an army here. Okay, pull back. Get my Roach Hydra here. Viper's just in front of it. Move the Roach Hydra. Move the Vipers forward. Abduct, 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 abduct. Those 5 tanks go into the Roach Hydra. He gets 1 volley off before they die. We then abduct these 2 Thors. Cool. We then kill this planetary. Fucking heck yeah. Just keep doing it, dude. Just like that. Just easy peasy. Blinding Cloud has greater range. I mean, it's shit though. If there's a bunch of Thors, in high impact payload, dropping a Blinding Cloud on those early is good. If there's like a whole bunch of Thors, because they can shoot down Vipers really quick. That is an exception. A Jozzle makes a decent point there. To play Devil's Advocate, how does a Terran counter abduct? You have more stuff than they can abduct. Yeah, you just don't. You just lose the game if they know how to do it, Bionic Warrior. Dude, I'm telling you, man, as a Terran or a Protoss player, unless you're really high level, you really hope the Zerg doesn't know how to use spellcasters. Because you're like, oh, we're going to late game. I hope I can just make A-move units. Oh, shit, Zerg made spellcasters. I'm screwed. You can use Ghosts, obviously. Ghosts are god tier. But using Ghosts and Mech, pretty advanced transition to get Ghosts off Mech. EMP is huge. Usually the budget way is you just start adding Vikings in. Vikings aren't very high value for Abduct. So if you have like 6 or 8 Vikings, you're like killing the Vipers every fight, right? You're killing those Vipers, which gives you value. And even if they're wasting Abduct on Vikings, they're not using it on tanks and Thors. So you're still pushing it and killing bases and doing all sorts of stuff. So kind of the same way like battle cruisers can just Yamato Corruptors and then teleport away and go, that's the battle cruiser attacked, dickhead. Same thing you can kind of do versus Vikings. We just like abduct the 6 Vikings, kill them. And you're like, yeah. And if you transfuse quickly, you don't even lose a Viper. And then you go back, get more energy, rinse and repeat. And they're like, yeah, it's better than losing 6 tanks. Ugh. Oh shit, Fenrak, dude, thank you so much for that. I hope that helps you out. I went a bit deep on you because I really wanted to help you out there. So I hope that does indeed aid you, my friend. I hope it does. I don't know if anyone will be on NA at this time. What do you guys think?